Okay, today we're going to be looking at regular versus irregular polygons. Before looking at what makes a polygon regular or irregular, we should review the definition of a polygon. A polygon is a closed shape made up of three or more straight sides. What makes a shape closed? So if we look at this shape here, it is not closed, it's open because we have these 1, 2, 3, 4 sides that do not end up connecting back together again, right? But if I take these same 4 sides and connect them, it makes it a closed shape. Okay, so a polygon has to be closed. There can't be any openings, any gaps. So all the lines need to connect end to end and eventually connect back up with each other. And they all have to be straight to make it a polygon. Okay? If there's any curved sides, then it's no longer a polygon. So knowing those rules for polygons, let's look at some of these shapes and we'll decide if they're a polygon or not. You can already see the answers, but we'll just go through them. So this first one looks like it's almost a triangle, but it's not quite. So it does have 3 straight sides. So remember, the rule has to have 3 or more sides, and they all have to be straight. So it does follow that rule. However, this is not a closed shape because of this gap up here. So this is not a polygon. This one here, all the sides are straight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's more than 3 sides. They're all straight, and it is a closed shape. So this is a polygon. This one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, is also a polygon because it's made up of 6 straight sides and it's closed. This one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, also has 6 sides that are straight and it's a closed shape, so it is a polygon. This one has 1, 2 straight sides and then 1 big curved side. It is closed, right? However, it has a curved side, so this is not a polygon. And this one as well, the heart, is not a polygon because it's made up of nothing but curved sides. So this one is not a polygon. So you'll find that polygons may or may not look like a regular shape that you're used to, right? It might look like a square or a rectangle. Those are some of the simpler polygons. But you also might get some stranger looking shapes. So don't just assume that it's not a polygon if you don't really recognize the shape. All you have to do is count if it has at least 3 sides, they're all straight, and the shape itself is closed. If it meets all of those requirements, then it is a polygon. Now that we know what a polygon is, we can look at what makes a polygon regular or irregular. So a regular polygon is a polygon that has all equal sides and all equal angles. An irregular polygon is a polygon that does not have all equal sides and all equal angles. So just think of it, if it's not a regular polygon, that means it's an irregular polygon. So first thing you can do, if you're trying to define a regular versus irregular polygon, just look at it. If one of the sides is a different length, right away it's not regular, so it has to be irregular. Okay, if all the sides are equal, then you can then look at the angles. If all of the angles are equal, then you can say that it's a regular polygon. So an angle, just to review, is the space where 2 straight lines intersect or meet. So I have one line here, and the angle is that little space in between them. Now angles can be small, they can be large, like this line here could be pointing way out this way, or it could be pointing down here. It really doesn't matter, just the space that's in between those lines is called the angle. So that's what we're referring to. When we're talking about all the angles have to be equal, they all have to be the same size. So they need to have that same distance in between those 2 lines in all the corners of your shape, of your polygon, for it to be considered a regular polygon, assuming all the sides are equal too. So here are a couple of examples. Here I have a polygon. I know it's a polygon because it has 3 or more sides. They're all straight, and it's a closed shape, right? There's no openings. I know this is a regular polygon because it's been labeled that shows me that all 4 sides are equal. Okay, that's what these little dash marks mean. It means that this side is the same as this side, and this side. Okay, so right now we know it has 4 equal sides, which could mean it's either a square or a rhombus. But what tells me that it is a square is that these little symbols here, they tell me that these corners are right angles or square angles. So this one's a right angle, this is a right angle, this is a right angle, and this is a right angle. So if an angle is a right angle, it means that you could slide like a small little square into the corner and it would just fit there perfectly. Okay, so now that I know that all these 4 angles are equal, all 4 sides are equal, this is a regular polygon. Specifically, we call this a square. Now if I look at this polygon, I think right away you would assume this is a rectangle, and you would be right to assume that. And just because it's a rectangle, it's a pretty standard shape, doesn't make it a regular polygon. The reason why? Well, we have 4 equal angles, just like the square, we have 4 right angles. And we know this side is equal to this side, and we know that this side is equal to this side. However, these 2 sides, the length and the width, are not equal. So as soon as there's one side that's different from another side, it is an irregular polygon. Now when we're naming polygons, we can actually be even more specific. So first of all, we say, well, is it a polygon? Right? Does it have 3 or more straight sides? Is it a closed shape? Okay, if it checks all those boxes, then it's a polygon. Next, you can tell if it's regular or irregular. So does it have all equal sides and all equal angles? And then after that, you can count the number of sides. So we should know this one. If it has 3 sides, we call that a triangle. You may have heard of a quadrilateral, right? So that's a shape that has 4 sides. Now we typically think of squares and rectangles when we're thinking of quadrilaterals, but it can be lots of different shapes. As long as it has 4 straight sides and it's a closed shape, we call that polygon a quadrilateral. If it has 5 sides, it's a pentagon. And you think of the building in the United States, the Pentagon. It's made up of 5 sides. 6 sides is a hexagon. 7 sides, a heptagon. 8 sides, an octagon. You can think of an octopus, has 8 tentacles. 9 sides, a nonagon. I just remember that one because 9 and non sound similar. And 10 sides is called a decagon. Think of a decade, right? Has 10 years. Okay, so when we're labeling or naming polygons, if it has 6 sides that are not equal, then it would be an irregular hexagon because the sides are not equal, but it still has 6 sides. And assuming they're all straight and it's a closed shape, then we can still call it a hexagon. But if all the sides are equal, then I'd call that a regular hexagon. We're going to go through a few examples now. So here I have a triangle. I know it's a triangle because it has 3 sides and it's a closed shape and all 3 sides are straight. Now we need to decide though, is this a regular or an irregular triangle? So to figure out if polygons are regular or irregular, we need to use a ruler and a protractor. Now, if you've never used a protractor before, that's a device that will help you measure the angles. So if you think they look close but you're not quite sure, then you can use a protractor to confirm. Now, if you've never used a protractor, I've posted a link to how to use a protractor to another YouTube video, which you can go to. For measuring the sides of the shape, obviously a ruler would be useful. Now, for this particular shape, you may not need a ruler. So just take a moment and define this polygon. So hopefully you found out that it was an irregular triangle. We didn't need to use a ruler for this because it's quite obvious that these 2 sides here are much longer than this side. So I didn't have to measure any angles I didn't really have to measure the sides with a ruler. I could just look at it. I could tell, well, no, not all the sides are equal. So it's going to be an irregular triangle. And again, I know it's a triangle because it has 3 straight sides and it's a closed shape, right? There's no openings. Okay, here's your next shape. So just take a moment. You can pause the video to identify if this is a polygon, and if it is, what type of polygon is it? Regular, irregular, and then specifically name the polygon based on how many sides it has. Okay, so the answer to this one is it is a regular pentagon. If you take a ruler and you measured each of these sides, they should all be equal. When I did it, they were about 4.5 centimeters. Depending on your device that you're watching this on, it could be different, but each side should be the same length. Now, if it's a little bit different, that was just because when I made this shape, I wasn't maybe able to get it perfectly exact. So, but that was the intention. I tried to make it as close to a regular pentagon as possible. The angles, to measure them, again, if you watch that protractor video, which I'll post a link to at the end of this video, then you put your protractor on the corner here, and you would measure that space in there from here to see how many degrees it is. And then you'd put it on each of the other corners to confirm that they're the same, that the angles are the same. Now, one of the things that I like to do, if I'm not sure if it's regular, and I just want to take a quick look, is with a shape like this, with a regular pentagon, if you just turn your head, just to look at it from a different perspective, you can see if it looks like it's the exact same shape. Like right now, it looks sort of like a house, right? Here's the bottom, the walls, and the roof. Now, if I were to turn my head to the left, this becomes the roof. This is the bottom of the house, and these are the walls. But it looks pretty much exactly like the same house when we look at it this way, where this is the roof, right? So sometimes you can just take a quick look. You can just sort of rotate the shape or just turn your head and see if the shape looks identical. If it does, that's a pretty good sign that the sides are all the same length and the angles are all the same length. But you can confirm it by using a ruler and a protractor. Okay, here is the last example. So take a moment, pause the video, and decide what type of a shape this is. Okay, hopefully you came up with this, an irregular decagon. So the first thing I would do is I would check all the sides. Okay, yeah, they're all straight sides. It's all connected, so it's a closed shape. So I know it's a polygon. And then I'll count the number of sides. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sides. So I know that it's a decagon. And then the last thing I have to do is find out, is it irregular or regular? The sides all look pretty similar in size, but I can tell just by looking at it right here that these sides on the end are quite a bit shorter than these sides. And here, these ones are quite a bit longer. These ones, like this one, and this one, they all look pretty similar in length, so I'd probably want to use a ruler to compare those two. But just by looking at it with my eye, I can tell that this is quite a bit shorter than this side. So I know that it's going to be an irregular decagon.